Hello, welcome to the YouTube Live. Here we are every Monday at 7 Central European Time. And here you have a live class. So every week I bring a different topic, and today I will be bringing some NP to the class. So we've had many different topics already over the weeks, and I actually started these lives in January, so it's almost coming up to a year, and it's amazing. Yeah, we've covered so many different things. So today we've been covering some NLP. I'll be talking about a communication model that is super useful, super important, and can create more clarity, can create deeper connection with ourselves, with loved ones, can help diffuse arguments, can help create better understanding, and, like do so many things. Like this is so useful, and this is one of the most popular communication models in NLP, and it's one of the most popular ones that people use in coaching as well. There's so many people that use this, and also in therapy. So I will be covering a little bit more about that. In NLP, we have many different things, many different communication models, and this is one of them. So if you're new here, if you're wondering what NLP is, if you're wondering like what is this all about, I'll explain a little bit briefly. So NLP is all about what's going on within the unconscious mind. So the thoughts, the beliefs that we have, the filters, all of those unconscious filters that we have. So much of our life experience is filtered according to our blueprint. So our blueprint meaning our values and our beliefs, mental programs, and all that we hold within the unconscious mind. So that's the unconscious level. And we go through life without even really knowing or paying attention to it, but our life experiences are filtered according to that. And so that's the neuro part. And then we have linguistics that also ties in with the beliefs. So the neuro is the filters, the linguistics are the specific words, phrases, and beliefs that we use. And that's something I'll be talking about today with this communication model. And then we have the programming, which is all about the different tools and techniques that we have in NLP. So I like to see NLP somewhere in between coaching and hypnosis, so somewhere in the middle. And it's a really wonderful toolkit to understand why we do what we do and how to make changes and like what really makes us tick, like what drives us and like what's behind certain habits or behaviors or thought patterns to really understand ourselves much better and understand others as well. So language is a huge component of this, and I like to keep it fairly simple. I like to talk about it in terms of stories, that we tell ourselves stories, and all of these stories, sometimes they can be positive stories, they can be helpful, and other times they are limiting stories, that we keep ourselves limited in some way, that we believe that we are this smaller, limited version of who we are, and that's not really the case, because at the core of everything, like everyone is immense, expansive, and infinite. So when we're believing the stories of the mind, the limited stories, then we can lack confidence, we can feel small, we feel low self-esteem, like we feel low, down, anxious, sad, upset, like all these different things can come up. This is what I call the hangover of the inner critic, like that negative self-talk. So that we're feeling the hangover after listening to that. So the stories that we say are really important because if I'm telling myself, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, then that will have a knock-on effect on my physiology, my emotional state, and then my actions, like as I go into that. If I tell myself I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, there's a completely different story there. And it creates a completely different feeling within the body, within the physiology, the emotional state, all of that. And that has a knock on effect on the actions I carry out. I'm much more likely to succeed if I believe that I can do something compared to if I can't do something. So the stories are important. And today I want to talk about the Milton model. and also a little bit about the meta model. So, like, mainly the meta model we'll cover today. Maybe I'll cover a bit more about the meta model in another live. So these are different models in NLP. So the Milton model is really like using a set of language that is what they use in hypnosis. So it helps to calm us down. It helps to help calm everything down. It's a little bit vague, so it helps everything to if you're listening to a guided meditation and the person's talking in a very soothing voice and they just say as you hear the sound of my voice, you become more and more relaxed. Like that's an example of Milton model. So I like to use this in terms of affirmations. So what we can use these models with ourselves. So for example, with affirmations, I can say to myself, often this is the case with affirmations, like is a positive statement. Sometimes in the beginning it doesn't feel true at all, and that we're just stating this statement, and it just feels like I don't really believe that. I'll just keep going anyway because it's an affirmation. Sometimes what can be helpful is adding in the beginning, with every breath you take, I feel more and more, and then whatever that positive statement is. So it's almost like you're easing your way into it. So with every breath I take, I feel more and more relaxed. With every breath I take, I feel more and more confident. With every breath I take, I fill in the blank. This is a really beautiful way to ease your way into affirmations and to just help the mind to open up to the possibility of that becoming your reality. Because if you state in a time when you're not feeling confident and you're like, I'm confident, I'm confident, I'm confident. In a while, eventually, you might start feeling confident, but it might take a little while. So if you start off with every breath you take, I feel more and more confident, and you're easing your way into it. Obviously, if we want to go into depth, then we want to find out if there was a time in the past when you didn't feel confident, your inner child needs reparenting in any way and going to the root cause. Like that would be the most direct and the most helpful. So that's like a little brief thing. I want to talk a bit more about meta model. So this is meta model and is a way to really gain clarity and connection. And this is a series of different phrases and basically it's just getting clear on things because often what happens is that statements are made. Statements, limiting beliefs, generalizations, deletions, distortions, they're made by different people, by ourselves, and they can create confusion when there's no clarity, there's no specification of what is actually being said. And this is why it's so important. The meta model is to really gain clarity, to get specific, to be like, okay, what's really being said? Because if something is vague, that's where miscommunication can happen, and that affects relationships. And when things are vague, like if we're in terms of ourselves, like if we're being vague about how we're talking about a goal that we want to achieve, or we're vague in like how we're describing things to other people, like we're not really bringing the message across. So, for example, if someone says the phrase, you don't like me, there's something missing there. Like, how do people know that? Like, if I say you don't like me, then how do you know? Like, how do I know that you don't like me? Or if or someone else, depends what the situation is. Like, how do we know? Because that's a very generalized statement there. So just distorting it all, and it's like, you don't like me. Like, how do we know? Like, what's the story behind that? Like, getting clear on actually what is being said. Or there can be another distortion of like, for example, it's bad to it's bad to be inconsistent. According to who? Like, who said that? When? Where does that come from? Getting clear on where things stem from can really help. So when statements like that are being made, like either we're saying it ourselves, we catch ourselves, or we say it to someone else, or someone else says it to us, that we can counteract that with different responses that can really help us get clarity. So, for example, like usually they start off with how, what, which, where, like any of those is like helps us to gain clarity. So, for example, like you don't like me, how do you know? Or it's bad to be inconsistent, according to whom? So any of those W's, what, where, whom, and also the how as well. So according to whom. A big one that comes up in relationships often is like there can be these bold statements of like you make me feel this way, like you make me feel sad, or you make me angry, or you make me blah blah blah. Yes, at the end of the day, nobody can make us feel anything. And this is a tough pill to swallow because it can feel like that. And it can certainly be like, okay, yeah, that person is doing these things, this is making me feel like this. But this is the thing, like we're receiving information from the outside, like throughout what we see, what we hear, what we feel, the information comes in to our mind. We filter it according to our different belief systems, like our blueprint within the mind. The mind tends to generalize and distort and delete things. And then we form this story. And it's the story that then provokes the emotional state. So it's the story, the meaning attached to something that makes us feel sad, makes us feel angry. It's not the actual person. And this can be a tough thing for people to understand sometimes. But just bringing it back to ourselves and taking responsibility is like, okay, perhaps there can be a different story. And it doesn't mean to say that we don't, like, if there are emotions, if there are sadness and anger and all of that coming up, and we do feel something, and there is, yeah, something that we want to look at. It's important to look at that, and if there's something important to communicate or communicate those feelings to the other person, it's important. Though it's changing the wording in terms of like you make me feel fill in the blank compared to like what can be even more helpful and constructive is I feel this when I experience this, or like I feel this when this is what happens. It's like bringing it back to the I, like we're taking responsibility. So if someone says to us like you make me feel blah blah blah, and then we can ask like how exactly did I make you feel that way, like just getting clear like how. So there are many others, like a common one often is like what we call model operators. And these model operators are like when things are super generalized and people make statements like always, never, um, like just I mean I've said these myself and I catch myself and when I catch myself then it's like okay I can change the story there, or when I've had loved ones say these then I can ask a question. So statements like you always do that or you never do that. Always, never. Has there ever been a time where, and then you state the opposite. So we want the whole point of this is just catching these generalizations, these deletions, these distortions, and getting really clear on okay, like what's really behind that, like what's happening here. Just getting crystal clear because so many conflicts, whether that's within ourselves or whether that's with like loved ones, come from some misunderstanding, like something's not clear, like two people on different pages. So when everything is clear and we're like, okay, what's actually happening here? What's actually being said? What am I saying? like being really clear, then there's more room for clarity and connection. So that's a little bit about meta model. And you can just start practicing this with yourself, like just notice what words and phrases you're using, like when you talk about things, like when you're talking about situations or things that you're experiencing with your friends. Are you generalizing? Are you deleting things out? Like, are you just leaving things out of it? So, for example, an example of a deletion would be like, he rejected me, or she did like she didn't like she doesn't yeah, she rejected me, or whatever it is. Like, but what, like, who was the rest of the story there? Like, just getting clear on that. So just really, yeah, just really like getting clear on, okay, this is what's being said. Like, what's the story? Like, what's the full story rather than just the snippet? So when you're talking about things with friends, like, just pay attention. Like, are you making it clear, or are you just giving little snippets? And sometimes the ego loves to give snippets in order to make ourselves look good, especially when we're talking about a situation that maybe we feel hurt by someone, or something's happened and we want to make out that we're the victim. And that can happen also. Or when we feel angry with someone and we're arguing, and then we make these big statements of like, you made me feel like this, or you're always like that, or you're never like that, or blah blah blah. And when statements like that are made, then that causes more conflict. So first of all, get curious about how you're talking, how you're speaking, and then get curious about how other people are talking, how they're speaking, and then start using these questions like, how, what specifically, where, when, which, whom, all of those, like starting the sentence, like the questions with those to get really clear. So there's so much more that I can share, but I just wanted to share like a little quick class for today about the meta model, and then also I gave like a little snippet of the Milton model before as well. I can do another class on that. If that's something you're interested in, then just let me know in the comments section. I can certainly do more of that in the future. And also, I'm curious to know if you want to know more about numerology as well, because that's also something that I cover in one-on-one sessions. So that's something I can also talk about and bring to the classes. You have these classes here to watch and join in live. The best thing is joining in live, because then you get to ask questions, that you can ask questions, and anything that NLP related to anxiety, emotions, beliefs, like how to feel good in yourself, like boost confidence, like all of these things. Any like well-being questions, just ask away, put them in the comment sections, and I can cover them in the classes. So coming up, I have a few events coming up. So on the 19th of October, which is a Thursday at 6:30, I have another women's circle at Artemis Women's Health Centre in Barcelona. So this month we will be talking all about the masculine and feminine polarities and the polarities within ourselves. So for like a quick summary, very brief summary, like the masculine is that awareness, direction, clarity, focus, that outward action. And then the feminine is more of that internal, but it can be expressive as well. It's that energy. So it's like you've got the awareness and then you have the energy. So, for example, the awareness and the motion. So we're aware that we might be feeling emotion, and then there's that energy, that emotion that's flowing through us. So we have these, every single person, regardless of gender, we have these. And this is something I'll be talking about in the women's circle, and that we'll be sharing our experiences with each other. And that will be on the 19th of October. If you want to join that, then send me a WhatsApp at 6226 98673, and the +34 at the beginning for the Spanish country code. So that's coming up on the 19th. And then on the 8th of November, I have an online workshop, which is all about uncover your personal blueprint to calm. So this was part of a 3-part series. This is workshop number 2, and this will be one where we go into a little bit more of the NLP in terms of like what makes you you and what helps you to get to a place of calm, to connect with that tranquility within, because we're all different. Yes, there are tools that can help many people, and many people can benefit from meditation and breath work and all of that. Though there are some specific keys that make it unique to you that can make it a lot easier. So I'll be talking more about that on the 8th of November. So if you're interested in that, there's information in the description, and you can just find out in the description, or send me a WhatsApp, like send me a message, and I'll get back to you about that. And on the 20th of October, so that's a Friday, so the same week as the Women's Circle, but on the Friday, I will be holding a space, open space for dance. So if you want to let go of stress, if you want to celebrate life, if you want to just like really like come back into your body, and you're in the area of Villanova y Geltrú, I will be holding a session. So you're more than welcome to join us. It's €10 for early payment, or if you come and pay on the door, it's €12. The last one was so much fun. We had a great time, and yes, if you want to dance, if you want to let off steam, that's a great opportunity to come and join us. So I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And I'll be back again next week with another YouTube live on another topic. And I look forward to connecting with you then. Much love.